and station.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Return of the Knicks podcast here on the Sports Jedi Network. On a special little roundtable discussion here we're going to have this evening. We want to hear from you, Knicks fans, Knicks Nation, for everyone that follows us that can hear that is a Knicks fan or a basketball fan. We'd love to have this conversation tonight with you. So we on a rare, we don't do a lot of roundtables, but on a rare occasion, we're going to do one this evening as we're letting everyone come on in. What's up, Drew? Drew is in the building. Drew, we're doing basketball tonight. We were earlier on with wrestling, so we're going to refrain from answering and acknowledging the wrestling questions tonight, Drew. No offense. You guys had your chance earlier this afternoon. We did all the wrestling watch along and all the stuff about wrestling. Now we're going to talk some Knicks basketball, which we really don't do. We do a lot of watch alongs. We do a lot of the different watch alongs, and we got to put a pause. And you guys are opposite. When I do wrestling, I get the basketball questions. When I have the wrestling, I get the vice versa. Let's get on the same page, fellas, and I would definitely want to go through this. So what you thought this was? The recap? Nah, we're going to talk about Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson coming off a wonderful performance here, boosting the Knicks record to 22-10 with 55 points. I beg to ask this question. He passes Carmelo Anthony for the most 50-point game as a Knick in a Knick uniform. He's only trailing one person. He got Richie Guerin, and you have, I believe he tied or passed Richie Guerin, and he has now Bernard King in his mind, in front of him. I asked this question. Is Jalen Brunson the current or the next Knicks legend? We're going to ask that. We asked that question to you guys. We want to debate that. We want you guys to come along, and I want to join the conversation, join the combo. I want to find out that. I want to go through that, and I want to find out what makes me ask this question. What are the factors? What is the factors to becoming a legend for a team like the Knicks? That's my question I want to ask you guys. What are the factors? And I have a few thoughts. I'm going to give a couple more minutes for everyone to walk in and come in. If not, I'm just going to shoot with it and go and make the video as far as I could go with it without not being too redundant. Again, we ask you to participate in the chat. Participate is the big key. We need a participation two-way street there. If not, I'll just go ahead and truck through and power through it there. So we're talking about last night, that 55-point heroic from the New York Knickerbockers, shooting. They shot 52.6% from the field. They were very, very, very underperforming at the 3-point line. They were 10 of 40 for 25 points. But here's a good thing. Normally, they struggle at the free throw line. They were 24 of 26. They were shooting 92% from 3-point land. They were out rebound 44 to 43. My God, Penny had a phenomenal career year for the Wizards, career game for the Wizards, that year. And of course, they had 26 to 32 assists. Again, one thing I will love the Knicks, and they have so many scorers, the assist totals. We want to see Jalen Brunson's assist totals a little higher, but how can you complain and sit here and have a gripe of complaint when Jalen Brunson goes out there and gives you 55 points? The way he has transformed his stock and became a mega star with the Knickerbockers ever since signing with the Knicks from the Dallas Mavericks. My goodness. I mean, Mark Cuban, I think 56 million for 4 years must be haunting him each and every day that he sees that, because what Jalen Brunson has turned out, just embracing the Knicks culture and all the characteristics of possibly becoming the next New York Knicks legend. One of the factors, and I want to talk about that, and I want to ask you guys, I want to hear from you guys, and I'm going to go we're going to go power through it because I waited, but I'll wait a little longer. Here we go. Here's one of my top, what are the factors, and I'll take this ticker off in a second. And what are the factors contributing to become a legend for a team like the Knicks? Well, consistently high-level performance. Again, we just talked about him coming off a 55-point performance with the Knicks. This is right now second all time in the franchise. My goodness, doesn't that tell you that he is embraced and wanted to put on the orange and blue? You know, how many times I've done so many different watch alongs and so many season after season, asking and wishing who is the player that wants to have the goals, the stones, the men, the balls, the testosterone to come to the New York Knickerbockers and change this franchise and wants to play for this team and wants Madison Square Garden to be their home. Brunson was the one that chose it. And he checks the first box. Strong leadership qualities. You see that in the way they gravitate around this team, the Villanova Knicks. You see Josh Hart elevating it, then also elevating his teammates around him, like a Josh Hart. Dante DiVincenzo last year, having the career high in three, breaking the Knicks franchise record that was held by 48, and now he was able to hit those threes on Brunson's leadership as a point guard. He has strong leadership. You could see the pedigree with his father, the family values, and all that stuff that a strong leader has. That Jalen Brunson checks the box. He leads by example. He doesn't blame. He doesn't point fingers. He takes the leadership role, and that's another quality that just hits Jalen Brunson. So he has 2 out of these 5 qualities: engaging with the community. When you think about Jalen Brunson's engaging with the community, what do we think about? As after losing that playoff series last season, him and Josh Hart stopping their vehicles, okay, going to each and one of these fan base, shaking those fan bases' hands, taking the time to acknowledge those men and women that spend their hard-earned money, their hard-earned time, and they go to cheer them on, and they stop what they're doing to go embracing each and every one of them, shows a engagement with the community, with the Knicks culture, with the Knicks atmosphere, and my goodness, embracing what it is to be a New York Knickerbocker, to be a Knicks, to be proudful to wear that orange and blue, not just when we go to the bodega to buy a Snapple, no, to when we wear it each and every day, everywhere we go, and Jalen Brunson wears that with pride. That's engaging with your community. That's another one. So 3/5 of the way, Jalen Brunson is checking the boxes here, breaking individual records. Now he's breaking records for Knicks legends. When you get a verifier with Richie Guerin, Patrick Ewing, and now you're chasing the great Bernard King, you're saying to yourself, we're watching a Knick legend in a making in front of us day after day here. And what a pleasure it is to see him, especially his size at 6'2". Not the tallest, not the strongest, but my goodness, one of the most sharpest NBA player with the footwork, with dicing and cutting and ball handling that we've seen. And I mean, I don't think we've seen in this franchise, I don't think ever in the point guard position. I mean, Mark Jackson was this great, but he was no Jalen Brunson. Now, I didn't get to see Walt like Frazier, so I cannot say Frazier. Frazier might have been better. But I gotta say, what we're watching now in the modern day NBA, or the modern day timeline for NBA basketball, Jalen Brunson is it. And then the following qualification, and the career of Jalen Brunson's story isn't over. So we still have a lot of chapters, knock on wood, on Jalen Brunson's career, is the winning multiple championships. Now he has to win one championship. I mean, he wins one with the New York Knicks. We're as a fan base who haven't seen one since the 40s. You're going to be excited as we start to get the chat brigade coming in here. Andrew Cruz, what's going on, Mr. Junior? Andrew Cruz Jr. in the building, and Big Task at Hand is in the building. What's up, fellas? A good win for the Giants, breaking off that stench of the losing streak as everyone's starting to fall in on Football Sunday. Hope you guys did well on your parlays and your betting, and I believe it's still at the finals of the Super Bowls or the finals of the playoffs for the fantasy football. So good luck on those folks there as we starting to wind down the football season to the postseason, and that season is over. And we're talking about a season that's getting hot. It's right there. We have 22 and 10 for our New York Knickerbockers. I'm asking you the question about Jalen Brunson. Is he becoming the next Knicks legend in our eyes? And he checked the box on 4 out of the 5 categories that what considers to be a Knick legend. And no one in their rightful mind thought that this guy was going to be this megastar. We thought he was going to be a really good point guard that was going to solidify the Knicks, running the offense, ball handling, controlling turnovers, but not to the level where he's got these trailing only 2 more 50-point games to Bernard King. What? No, it's not. That fell out. There you go. The Giants. I'm pretty sure that's the Giants that you're talking about, Big Task. As I get a drink here. Yeah, so we're talking about Brunson. We're talking about how he gets the team going around him. One thing you see, again, we talked about Dante DiVincenzo, no longer part of the team. Why are we talking about DiVincenzo? Because he's flourished last season playing under Brunson, the way Brunson cuts, penetrates into the basket, drawing, and now kicking out. And DiVincenzo had the highest three-point shooting of his career last season for the as a Knick under Knick uniform. Also getting other guys acclimated. Look at OG Anunoby. And OG Anunoby, I believe, leads the league in the most field goal percentage in the NBA with all the dunks that he's getting to the basket. Again, you have to respect now if Brunson is not going to penetrate, curl in. Now Hart takes advantage of that. One of the best at driving to the baskets in transition and kicking out, with an Obi, and now you have Mikal Bridges, who had a heroic performance on Christmas Day. I mean, my goodness, his 40 plus points, and the Knicks have 4 players by January 1st with 40 points or more. I mean, the Knicks are doing offensive numbers that I think when we were Knicks fans 4 years ago, we were ooh and ahhing for players to score the way the modern NBA has shaped up, and seen what a treat to be on that other side of the coin, of the other side of the river, for them to see the Knicks play. That was absolutely the worst in the entire history of the Giants franchise. I agree with you. What's up, Mikey? Hi, Mikey. Love the Knicks, how they play this year. And Brunson has been good. Been playing as good as I've ever seen him play. He's becoming a Knick legend in front of our eyes, Mikey. He's becoming a legend. He's checked all the boxes as a Knick legend, and we'll continue to give him his flowers here. Putting up these moments here. Wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know if you know what? I'm going to ask this question. I'm going to ask this question to those that are listening. Do you think he passes and breaks Carmelo Anthony's single game season scoring? I don't think he will. I don't think he will. I think he'll get to 60. I don't think he'll get past the 60 in his career. I hope I'm wrong. This is one that I hope I'm wrong. And it's not that he can't do it. I think he has better teammates around him where at least this season, he's got so many better teammates around him. He's not gonna be required to have to put up 63 points to shatter Carmelo Anthony's record. Is he going to pass Bernard King's 50-point record, barring injuries and barring what we see from the way he is utilizing the cutting, the switching of the hand, ambidextric, going with the floater to the lane, to the paint? Yes. I think he will. I think he'll definitely pass Bernard King's franchise record for the Knicks' most 50 points in the season or in a career for the Knickerbockers. I think so. I think he'll break that. I think that's something that's on the table. But I don't know about the Carmelo Anthony one. I hope I'm wrong with that one for Jalen Brunson. But my God, what a pleasure. Again, what a pleasure watching him night in, night out, persevering, and watching the Knicks last night. Watching that game on a back-to-back, watching the game first in Orlando. They didn't shoot the 3-ball well. They were struggling a little with 3-point, and they hunkered down on a physical Magic's team, regardless of the fact that Mo and France weren't both playing. Pablo Banchero, coming just back from injury, wasn't really himself 100%. You had Isaac, you had Wendell Carter, you had other guys, and the Knicks showed different avenues or different aspects of how to win the basketball game. Karl-Anthony Towns coming alive at times with the Knicks. There's time that he's the one that's taking over. Here's the one thing about you got to like so far the Knicks here. In this, it's not even halfway through the season. It's these 32 games with the Knickerbockers. They're showing you that they can win in different ways. Now, I know everyone's wants to see them be this defensive juggernaut, this defensive shutdown team. I think with Tom Thibodeau, normally this is where they start excelling. Usually around the New Year's Eve game. Usually they get destroyed around that time, and then they just turn a switch. They go to that OKC game, and they always find a way to not do so well. And then they get around to that MLK game day, and then right before it, and they just take off. They just take off, and they start getting into postseason, finishing the season off strong. I got another one. I think Jalen Brunson will pass Carmelo Anthony 60 because his supporting cast is too good, but I don't think Brunson has to. That's correct. I think I'm with you on that same answer as we got Daniel Barrow Sports Highlights joining us saying, yo, what's going on? What's up, Daniel? Salute to you. Yes, I don't know. You're right with that statement, Big Task. I don't know if he is going to pass it or because of the supporting cast. Maybe he'll get some easy buckets. Because I know it's not because they're going to blow teams out and they're going to remove him from the game. Knowing Thibodeau, he'll probably play out there and play, but interesting aspect to see if he will get to that. And again, once thing we talk about the game with Orlando, then to the back-to-back, I believe, was it you that said it yesterday, Big Task? Oh, you say will not. Okay. Yeah, because of the supporting cast. I got you, Big Task. But that's okay. That's fine. Was it you that said they were going in overtime? It wasn't going to be easy. Someone in our chat, and by the way, if you haven't followed us yet, please follow us on the watch along. We try to do every Knicks basketball game watch along. We know we're kind of veering away from the YouTube platform for the watch along. We're going to be doing this here and stuff like. We're on the Playback TV. If you see the link in here on the YouTube, I've always put the Playback link there. Come on over. It's totally free. You get to watch the game while we have the conversation and we have the chat and we interact with one another in the chat and we watch the game right behind us. So you get to watch the game, hear the game, see the game, and conversate the game with other Knicks fans. So we ask you guys to join us on the Playback. Help us grow that platform. We want to help. We want to continue to grow our Playback family, our Playback followers, membership. It's totally free. Doesn't cost anything. I've got about 7-8 passes left. You can watch all the NBA games with those passes. So come be a member, feel the force, come to Sports Jedi Network Playback, and we want to see you there, man. And we want to definitely see you. Yeah, we got testimony from Big Task. Yeah, I saw the day before the tip-off of the game, and I'm not going back to I got tongue twisted. The game was not going to be that easy. Yeah. He said it. He said he saw yesterday that game with the Knicks, and he said it wasn't going to be an easy game for them. It wasn't going to be a rocking chair game where they were going to win comfortably, and he called it. He called it right on it. And rightfully so. The Knicks go in overtime. They went on a 5-0 run, personal 5-0 run for Jalen Brunson to force the overtime last night. One thing that I did say when we were doing the watch-alongs, and I have the clips, by the way, on there on the Playback. So if you ever go to the Playback, I have the clips there of those important times and some great moments of the games between the Knicks and the Washington Wizards, which was fun. It's fun. That's what I like about the Playback. It lets me clip out certain things. And when I was seeing the Knicks missed 3 3-pointers. They went for 3 3-point attempts in a row around the 2-3 minute mark. Around 3 to 3 before Brunson went on his own personal 5-0 run. They missed 3 consecutive 3-point shots. And I said, if they were to just execute their offense, where Karl-Anthony Towns at that time was on fire, he was being a juggernaut before Brunson went on his heater. I said, why not go back to Towns? And if they're double or triple closing out, then I trust Karl-Anthony Towns' passing ability to get it out to the shooters, and then you live and die with those attempts for 3. But the Knicks kind of felt like they rushed those 3 balls when they missed those 3 straight attempts. I know they wanted to get the wow moment, and they felt the energy of the visiting club from the crowd. Who's, my goodness, that crowd felt like it was what? 65% Knicks fans and 35% Washington fans. I mean, it's sad, but it felt like Madison Square Garden South Park too, because Orlando the night before was extremely uber loud with a lot of Knicks fans. We are here in Orlando, and we are in full force. A lot of Knicks fans in Orlando and Washington, the nation capital, just taking a cellar down there, and probably it costs cheaper to go to the Garden. You get a better seat, especially when a 5-win Wizard team. I think that's what the stadium was so full. Was so full of Knicks fans, Knicks contendants, and it sounded great on television. I tell you what, Knicks fans, you did a good job, great job on the visiting club. You are loud and proud, so I love that. I love to see that. And yeah, we saw that 5-0 run there. One thing that I will say. And we'll continue giving Jalen Brunson his flowers and continue to praise and just continue to watch a megastar in front of us. Was one thing that concerns me is I know the minute police are out. The minute polices are tweeting. You see all the tweets. You see all the stats of all the minute police of Tom Thibodeau already, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and I think Jalen Brunson are on the top of one of the top 10 of the most minutes played on an NBA team players for in the league. One thing I am concerned, I would like to see, I don't know if he's got injured. He came up hobbling, I believe, at the Madison Square Garden game or before that, was Cameron Payne. Cameron Payne didn't get enough minutes. I thought Cameron Payne in the middle part of December was a real great bench piece off the bench that was scoring. McBride is going to give you McBride stuff. McBride is solid off the bench. But again, if you have that punch there where you could give a little minutes, keep Brunson off the feet a little more, where Cameron Payne gets the offensive thriving, it also continues the depth of the New York Knicks. I'm not going to get into Larry Shamet too much because Larry Shamet just returning from injuries. And by the way, what an impact Shamet has in short limited time, hitting threes, helping spread the floor, helping now the you have to think about staying with him so you can't really double team. This is what the Knicks offense is so dynamic because you can no longer pick and choose. Before with the Knicks, double Randall, let them swing the ball. They might turn the basketball over because Randall's, at 6'9" or 6'8". It's going to be tough for him to swing that pass around with double teams, with two big men doubling him. And, you don't see the sight of vision might be a little hampered and, they might be a deflection or not the smoothest pass or whatever the case was, turnover. And they couldn't get to the three ball. They did most of the time, but they gambled on that. Now with the Knicks, the way they move the ball perimeter, guys cutting, and of course with the Karl-Anthony Towns passing in the center, what a crisp passer he is, and the way the Knicks Brunson is not afraid of cutting, or driving to the basket, snake dribbling, and seeing guys moving. It makes it difficult for teams to pick and choose if they're going to double team which player they are. They have to be quick on the rotation, and the Knicks are sharp enough to move that basketball so fast and efficiently that it makes the offense flow so well. I mean, the case in point, you've got four Knicks players that have scored 40 points already. And look at Brunson already with the amount of 50-point game and so forth. And that's not even Josh Hart, where, if he gets going on the bender, he could easily get you 30 points, 25 points, but that's not his team. Hart is that high energy, offensive rebound, defensive rebound type of guy who's going to shoot the open three. He knows that the offense they don't depend on him to be the focal point of an offense. He knows his role, and that's why it fits with this team for Hart. And that's what you got to love. Now, the one thing, again, is the bench piece. Precious Achiuwa had a ferocious dunk that I think it was the cover of the Post. Man, what a dunk, that ferocious dunk from the Lion Tamer who got the and one. That was a hell of a move, a swing there for Precious. Precious coming off the bench, that power forward and sliding to center at backup times. Tom Thibodeau isn't afraid to play both big men, Karl-Anthony Towns and Precious Achiuwa. One thing I am going to say that I'm a little bit concerned at times, but I tell my chat this all the time on the watch along is I trust Coach Thibodeau and his coaching staff in whole to help Karl-Anthony Towns clean up the foul issues. Karl-Anthony Towns has been getting a lot of issue fouls, and I understand some of it is a little ticky-tacky with the officiating, especially on the offensive end, and certain officials, drive us bananas. But I'm going to say I think I trust Thibodeau's coaching staff because the proof is in the pudding, where Coach Thibodeau, under his coaching staff, he has gotten all the centers to play so extremely well. I've given the examples. I'll give the examples again for all our new listeners. It might be redundant to some of us that watch along me and watch me with my take, but this is for new folks that haven't heard me. Nolan Noel had his best year with Tom Thibodeau. We haven't heard from him ever since he left the Knicks. And this guy, we thought he was a Taj Mahal of defense. Oh my God, Nolan Noel. He just had bad hands. He just had small hands when he came on offense. Defensively, he was blocking, swapping it away. It kind of felt like he transformed into something different when he was on offense. He just didn't have the offensive game. Let's put it that way. But he was a hell of a defensive player for the Knicks under Tom Thibodeau. Also Randall for a big. Randall, and he didn't have too much foul trouble, but just the evolution of the bigs with the New York Knickerbockers under Coach Thibodeau as a head coach, no matter who's his coaching staff, if it's with Greer, if it's with Mike Woodson, if it's with Johnny Bryan, it doesn't matter who's his coaching staff, under him and that philosophy, that thought, you see the big man flourish. Case in point, Mitchell Robinson from a from a second round pick who was extremely raw. If you remember, under Fizdale and so forth, raw guy who couldn't stay on the floor, gathered so many silly fouls, silly pickup fouls, and got working with his coaching staff. And look at Mitchell Robinson, got a second contract and still with the Knicks. I re-signed with the Knicks, and we're all clamoring and waiting for him to return to help with the offensive rebounding. And on this team, there is a fit for Mitchell Robinson on this team. Right, the fouls are an issue for Karl-Anthony Towns. Big Tass agrees with me, and I want to see where Coach Thibodeau now. You saw Mitchell Robinson, you saw Isaiah Hartenstein. By the way, he has some words that I'm going to address in a second, and my thoughts on it. What about Brunson and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, what they compared them, but I'll give that thought in a second. He also, Hartenstein flourished now, a phenomenal year last year for the New York Knicks now with the OKC Thunder, who, my goodness, they're playing. They only have lost 5 games this season. With his addition there, not because he is, but he's a big part of bringing that and protecting the rim and doing what he does. Also, Jericho Sims. I know Sims hasn't been playing much in Tom Thibodeau's rotation. There's sometimes that he gets, he loses concentration, or there's a play that Thibodeau gets frustrated and yanks him. The release is short on him. We could argue about that over and over. Tom should let him play a little longer, make a little bit of mistakes, but this is year 3, so they have their reasons. Could be what attitude back, in practice. I don't know. I'm just saying we don't know. I'm putting some variables out there for Jericho Sims. We all want Sims to work. Especially Vernon B. Hacken on our channel loves Jericho Sims. And when the guys like players, I rally with them to want to do well too. I don't want to see anyone on my team do terrible at all. No. I want everyone to excel and do really good on our team, because it's going to help at the end of the day. We need a Larry O'Brien trophy already. Enough waiting around and being bridesmaid or wishing we were going to the dance. It's time to start dancing. It's time to start being the bride and the groom. And it's time now to hoist some hardware. Enough is enough. This is a good team. We want now to go for the Larry O'Brien. We want now greater expectations, and we know this team could deliver, and we're going to back them up. If they fall short, we'll pick them up as a team, as a fan base. We'll be right there to help them get back up. We know we believe in them. So my point is, with Jericho Sims, we want him to do really good as a center. We want him to excel as a Knickerbocker. Definitely. We don't want to see him fail. We want to see him to excel and be part of this rotation and give us some great moments, because we know the kid is athletic. And sometimes it frustrates us. I know, but he couldn't even stay on the floor with moving violations, turning them out, doing certain things. At times he still gets there, but you could see that there's talent in him from Jericho Sims under Coach Thibodeau. I think with Karl-Anthony Towns, give him some, this is only 30. I know he coached them in Minnesota before, but Karl-Anthony Towns that we got this year has an open mind, has a different open mind, a mature mind, that he knows he's back home in the team that his childhood team. He's playing with a guy who's a coach who has a resume, regardless of the fact if you like the way he pushes you or don't. He still has a body of work of success with this franchise. And you don't want to be the disruptor or the bad pill or the rotten potato to ruin the sack. And I think Karl-Anthony Towns knows that in a way. I'm paraphrasing, but I think his key is shows by his work ethic, the way he's been playing. And I think under Coach Thibodeau's coaching staff and his team, I think they're going to be a really good force. I think you're going to see the fouls go down. I think he's going to get more acclimated now that maybe with Mitchell Robinson returning. Yes, and I said it can work with Mitch. I think it could, because you could put them both on the floor if you want to for some time there, if you're going up to some bigs. But that's where you have Precious Achiuwa. You could put Achiuwa and Mitchell Robinson. Now you're missing some defense there, but you could still you could play Towns and make Mitch, and if you want to go totally dominant, big up front. And I think it could work because Towns, the way he shoots the three and slide into a natural power forward position, I think it could work for some times, from some spurts and certain matchups for the Knicks. And it's up to Coach Thibodeau to see the matchups, to see what's available for him and what's going forward with him, how they're going to be executing going forward there. So we see how that going on with the coach whisper, the center whisper. I have another question though. In one word, how would you describe Jalen Brunson's this performance? Just the performance. You could say it's on not last night's game or in general as a Knick. I think this guy's been mighty. I'm gonna go mighty because you know me, I like to nickname him Mighty Mouse, aka Mighty Mouse. I think he's been mighty for the Knicks. What Brunson has done has been mighty. That's my word for Jalen Brunson. Personally, that's exactly how I could describe Brunson here. I'll put the ticker on the bottom with the questions as they scroll here. And I got one more. I have another question that I want to ask, though. Here we go. How do you think Jalen Brunson's performance going forward will impact the Knicks strategically moving forward? Now, if he's scoring, we all know that night in, night out, he's not going to. He's capable of giving you 30, averaging close to 30 points a game, and still getting. Here's the one thing I know the chat brigade on my channel likes to ask that question. They would like to see Jalen Brunson's assist be a little more higher. I'm going to ask you guys that are listening, do you agree? Would you like to see Jalen Brunson be more of a assist point guard first? Because I'm not saying he's a scoring point guard first, but most of the time he does average I'll be like about 6 assists per game. I'll find his stats in a second. I'll find the stats to make sure we get that correctly on point there. But yeah, I think Brunson, one thing people want to see for Brunson moving forward is having him get more teammates involved. And of course, he is the closer, regardless of the fact we had that question before where we had Julius Randle on the team, when we had Barrett. Quickly, we were asking who was the closer, and the Knicks didn't really have a closer. Randle wasn't the greatest ball handler in crunch time, and of course, it was rough for them with the turnovers. And I hated to harp on Randle not be able to be clutch in the fourth because he gave everything to you night in, night out. But they needed a closer, and I think Brunson with the ball handling, the way the savviness, high IQ basketball that he plays, he is the closer for the team. He is the closer. He knows when to pass the ball, when to give the ball to the right person, and he trusts his teammates. He has that EST to trust a Mikal Bridges if he has it on, or to go to Hart, which it's not an easy thing to do because you have two guys that you're really so intimate tight with. And at crunch time, he has to be the right discernment to go to the right shooter at that time to possibly win the game. So that's a way he could impact strategy going forward, knowing when to give the rock to the right person at the right time in the game when it matters. If he make decision making coming down the stretch, or just to be a little bit selfish and take it himself and close it out. That's the way he's going to affect the team moving forward, in my opinion, in crunch time, because that's the way I think his mindset, the way he's been geared, the way he's been, at least what we've seen watching him as wearing the Knicks uniform colors. To me, that's what I've seen. He's always making the smart IQ basketball play, either by on offense or on defense, getting in front, by example, getting a charge. We're starting to see other ball players on the team, doing the same thing that weren't Brunson's teammates, getting in front of the lane, trying to draw the charge, getting there, sacrificing their body. Leaders lead by example, and you see it on the court. And if you're not enamored with that, you're not entertained and you're not excited, I think you have to check your pulse. I understand, look, they're 22-10. I understand they're not the top team in the East yet. They don't have the best record yet. There's teams who got up to some phenomenal start, but my God, this has been an entertaining 32 games so far here in 2024, in my opinion. And I think Brunson going forward, and I still think the Knicks haven't got to their stride of playing their best basketball, because we see the slow starts in the beginning, those slow starts that sometimes my chat wants to pull their hair out, and rightfully so, because you want to see them home hum. But here's what I tell them: I think they're still learning how to play with one another. They're recognizing who's going to have the hot hand going into the remainder of the game, and when to feed the hot hand in the third, in the fourth, to start pulling away with the talent on the players. Notice that the Knicks don't rarely And knock on wood, you don't see them go down halftime by 17, by 12, by 20. They're right there. Usually, if they're in it, they're trailing. It's usually under double digits or just above double digits, where it's workable in the third quarter. You can see that night in and out with the Knicks, and then they start getting acclimated on who's gonna take over what. Sometimes it's the second unit game that gets them propelling in that third, in that closing out that second, no, starting the second quarter and closing out the third. And then the fourth quarter comes, the starters get acclimated, because they're so talented. Starting five, someone from the starting five starts taking over the game. It was not a Bridges, it was not a Brunson, it was not a Towns, it's not an Anunoby getting some looks. This is why the Knicks are so dangerous in so many aspects, in so many versatile ways. Yes, despite the fact that they're only 10th in defensive efficiency in the NBA, they're the 10th defensive best team. I believe they're the second or third on offense this season. So you're sacrificing a little defense, but look where you are in the offensive category. Remember, not in the NBA, you want to score. The numbers are high. Teams are not really playing too much defense, and sometimes the officiating doesn't allow you to play your type of defense. So you're sometimes going to have to outscore your players, other teams, and the Knicks have that capability of outscoring a lot of other teams. And you got to like the way they're going to win a lot of more basketball games. All right, I have one more. I think I have one more question. And I'm looking for this one. I'm looking for it. Like, I wrote them down and I put a ticker here. No, it was a good one. What do we want to see the Knicks do? It's actually on the ticker. What would you like the Knicks to do going forward, upgrading the teams, and where? Here's one thing. This team is playing well. This team is going to get a Mitchell Robinson days now. Believe in the next 5 games, we should be getting Mitchell Robinson back on the court. One thing I want to see first Mitchell Robinson not get re-injured. That's the big first thing. The first big step, have him play a series of 10 games, right before a little bit before around February, and then the Knicks got to make a decision if they're going to add to the team or they're going to salary dump or whatever the case is. Those decisions that the executives got to make. And also, while they're doing those decisions, I've seen Mitchell Robinson stay healthy. Hopefully, no one else gets injured, and everyone is playing well. They kind of would love them to get a power forward around. I know they were talking about Isaiah Stewart from Detroit, but that's going to take away from your old. You're going to have to give up a Precious Achiuwa and some good players for that kind of player from Detroit. You got to get some type of player where they want to get rid of the salary who's expiring, and you want to give some picks. I don't want to give anybody from our starting five. Miles McBride can go anywhere, cannot go anywhere. Kevin Payne, you want to stay with this team. You don't want to disrupt the chemistry of this team, starting five and on your bench, but you have to possibly try to add a power forward. I don't know how they'll do that. That's for the front office to do. Tyler Kolak, I don't want to get rid of Tyler Kolak. He won MVP. A point guard, yes, he might not be ready yet for NBA play right now, maybe not even this season, but you could tell that young man is going to be an NBA point guard, maybe an NBA backup point guard, but he's going to be an NBA point guard for a team, and I kind of wanted to be for us, especially Brunson for the latter parts there. And of course, Miles McBride, I think it's going to be inevitable when Miles McBride, maybe next in the offseason, might not be a Knick because he's too uber talented to be on here for that kind of money, and teams are going to want him no matter what you do. Definitely no major changes. Bring Mitch back in the loop and get Laundry some more minutes. Yeah, Shamet some more minutes. I tend to agree to that. But damn, Precious Achiuwa in the center. You know what? It kind of fits the power forward position if Mitchell Robinson stays healthy, because then you could keep a Jericho Sims. Unless if you move Sims along with, I don't know. I'm trying to Sims some picks or something for a contract of a power forward small center to play for this team who's a rebounding machine. Well, I don't know if that's the way they're going to go for it, because I don't know. I just don't want them to do dumb moves. Leon Rose so far has dodged the bullet of not making bad, terrible moves. Although some people thought the Carnegie Towns wasn't going to really be a good move, but I understand when Knicks fans have that buyer's remorse or that buyer's awareness or worrisome due to the fact of Andrea Bagnani. We came off that, and look, to compare those two teams from that 52 win team with Carmelo Anthony and Stoudemire and Woodson is different because they were older. There was an older team. There was no young, up and coming, young prime players, just mellow. Everyone else was, either back nine or Tyson Chandler. It's a different type of ball club and talent that they had compared to this team that we have here. And I understand where Knicks fans will have that PTSD about making that trade. And I'm not saying Carl McDonald was ever going to be Andrea Bagnani, but you always had that worry that it was going to be a lemon. And I understand Knicks fans. I understand because we have bought too many lemons as a Knicks nation, as a Knicks fan, and we have eaten a lot of lemons for many years on some trades. We've been on the short end of the stick of some bad trades, and I understand when you get the PTSD for it. Just think about this. Thank God we didn't do anything for the Ball brothers. We didn't do any moves because they seem like they're always injured. Also, Zach LaVine. Now, this is a guy no one wants in the league. I mean, my goodness. And I'm glad that Lakers didn't con us to take D'Angelo Russell. I'm glad that he's back in New Jersey, Brooklyn. And I said New Jersey. I can't believe that. Hey, I'm an old timer, so I'm still thinking them as the New Jersey Nets, but they're Brooklyn. And we're always skeptical of a bad trade. That's why you always raise an eyebrow when teams are too easy to make a deal. Also, Devontae Murray. I know. Just think about it. A lot of you guys wanted Devontae Murray here. Everybody wanted him, and it doesn't seem like it's kind of working. He's not that transcendent. We would have been short. And Donovan Mitchell is another one. Although Donovan Mitchell was intriguing if they would have traded for him because there's another guy who wanted to come play for New York. And I always say I want someone who says I want to wear New York. I want to be for the Knicks. I want to play for the orange and blue. There's something to it. Brunson, look what he did. No one thought Brunson was going to turn out to be this megastar. Maybe Donovan Mitchell would have just continued to be a megastar, or maybe he would have just been a Stephon Marbury. We would never know. We would never know. Things happen for a good reason. People say. I don't know all those bad. What good reasons the Knicks have gone 54 years without winning a title? I don't know. Someone has to explain to me that. But I think it's time for us to start thinking about winning. We have now a winning culture. We've been in the postseason for X amount of years in a row. Second round, regardless of the fact, second round or not second round, but we're a playoff team. We're an NBA now playoff organization. Now we have to start taking the step a little bit further. I hate to putting pressure on this team, but to make them, they're setting the bar up higher now. Eastern Conference, hey, second, and I always say this: playoffs is all the crapshoot. You never know what's going to happen. We have a long way to talk about playoffs. We had a long NBA season here. A lot of things could happen. But we know that we have some great expectations. We are anticipating the postseason play coming up. We still got more than half a season in front of us. A lot could happen. The landscape of the NBA could change. Jimmy Butler in Miami is not happy. I'm not saying he's coming here, guys. I'm talking about if he joins a team that makes him, an obstacle now. He goes from Milwaukee with a Giannis. I'm just throwing out there. I don't think it would ever happen because of the caps and all that stuff. I'm just putting hypotheticals. You never know what, or who somehow Philadelphia gets something going with some. You still have Embiid. You still got Paul George. You still got Maxey. You put another player that we don't even know out of nowhere and put that there, and that's 4 NBA All-Star quality players in Philadelphia. That becomes an issue. Anything can happen. We got a lot to go, got a lot of basketball to play. But right now, if you're a Knicks fan, you're excited for what Jalen Brunson has given us, what he's become in front of our eyes, the next Knicks legend. And we put that out there for him, and we want to give him this. We want to, first of all, say thank you. I know there's still a lot of season left. There's still a lot of NBA basketball playing, but talking about the pride that he gives us each and every game out there, pride for him, heart. Those boys, that group, that 15 that goes out there for the Knicks, and Thibodeau, and the coaching staff, everyone that's in the Knicks currently right now, making us proud each and every night. At least from this fan here, appreciates that, and if this video ever gets to them, thank you guys. You guys, and you got a lot of work. You still work to do, but as of right now, thank you for making basketball is fun. It's not the slop of football that we're getting in New York. It's we're getting some good basketball. I believe that Jimmy Butler will be traded to the Bucks. And I just threw that name out there. I didn't even. I swear to you, I didn't even know that was a rumor or if that was a dance partner for the Bucks. I'm thinking Butler is heading to Phoenix for Bradley Beal. That one I've seen that before. I've seen that name being thrown out there for Bradley Beal. It's not working for Phoenix. They might want to move a Beal. I think Beal. Speaking of Beal, I remember that's another name that the Knicks fans were enamored and ooh and on and wanted. That contract was extremely high for Bradley Beal. I'm glad we didn't go that route. He hasn't transformed he's never transcended into a winning player. Also, injuries has hurt him. And I think he benefited from a John Wall, taking a lot of pressure off him. And yeah, he executed and he played well. But I mean, Beal, I don't know. I don't see the ooh-ahs in Beal, to be honest with you. Beal, the ooh-ahs, I don't see it. And another one that I'd say that it's not, and maybe because I don't watch him night in, night out, I kind of feel Beal, and they're on the same team, is Devin Booker. I know we were all crazy because he's the CAA client, and it seems like Booker always comes on whenever his teams are eliminated or they're done in the Phoenix when he had his big games. Look at his career. When he had his career numbers, high numbers, was when the Phoenix already been eliminated. It's like when Obi Toppin went for the 40-plus points. The Knicks were done that year, and he got playing time and he scored. I felt the empty calories for Booker, but he's been living up to it at times. I agree. I'm not going to say he's not totally empty calories, but it just feels like his impact, isn't that great. Like a Zach LaVine. LaVine is another one. He's a hell of a scorer, but where's his, doesn't elevate his teammates around him. It's just those type of players, and that's the conversation that we can go round and round. I know people are probably saying he's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But I'm just, throwing names out there, shooting the breeze here on a Sunday night. So with that, I think we've covered all our bases. I think, we've seen it. It was kind of a small little bit of a recap. And we talked about the Knicks, and we were getting to the point. We got to the point about Jalen Brunson. We made our points of Jalen Brunson. Yeah, here we go. And then I like this one, big task. I thought that Devin Booker was the truth. Was never crazy about Beal. Okay, I got you. Look, beauty is the eye of the beholder. Because I felt Booker was more of a shooting guard, and this team needed a point guard when his names were being floated out there, and I wanted a point guard first. This is a point guard driven league. Kind of wanted to see Booker, maybe because where he's at on the West Coast, not seeing too much of his game, seeing always Curry outplaying Booker, being the top notch. Even I know he's an all-star, but I don't know. There was something missing for me for Booker. I don't know what it was for me. To again, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I don't know. I don't see the ooh-ah factor. And the same thing with Middleton. Middleton's a solid player, but I just don't. And one thing I could say Middleton from Milwaukee is just he has that monster height advantage that it's just tough to guard for him. But postseason, he's just one of those guys that when the postseason comes, he's one of those guys that it's like, oh damn, he's there, he's it. So I guess it's until you see them playing. Look, I thought the same thing about Karl-Anthony Towns, but watching him night in, night out, again, maybe because you don't watch them and you don't cover them, you don't see him with that eye lens of, he's playing for your team and how he fits with the players in your team. When I look at big Karl-Anthony Towns, I'm like, where was the softness? I understand there was some time, but he's breaking out some bad habits. This dude, for his size and his height, he could pass that basketball. I mean, some passes kind of like a guard. That crossover he did yesterday, hitting into the three ball. I mean, I don't think how many centers in the league could do that from a Karl-Anthony Towns. I didn't know how special this guy was with the handle. So maybe it's the product of where you playing and the coverage and seeing the player to appreciate it. Maybe that's what Devin Booker, not seeing him, not watching him, I don't have that appreciation for a Devin Booker. Maybe I don't know. I probably, I could be totally wrong with that. The same thing with Tatum and Brown. I know they're great because they're always on national television, but night in, night out, the Boston fans remember before winning the NBA Finals, they wanted to disparage that team. They couldn't stand those two. Oh, break them up. It's not going to work. Break it up. That's not going to work. Masula comes in, they win that title, and now things are a little calmed down. And and if they don't win this year, they're going to be talking about break that up, break that up. So sometimes it's the fan base that gets a little annoyed or bothered. But again, not watching them night in, night out, we can appreciate the hard work that each of these teams, each of these players give their franchise night in, night out. So I know it's a funny thing being a fan. That's why we're called fandom. We have we're fanatics. At the end of the day, we're fanatics of the team, and we go over extremity with our takes or our watching and the love or dislike of a player. I remember Knicks 100. Knicks 100, no disrespect, you're cool, you're a great guy. He couldn't stand Emmanuel Quickly. He hated Emmanuel Quickly. Knicks 100 couldn't stand Emmanuel Quickly. He always came in and here's Quickly doing mistakes on our team and Quickly was an energizer who was a bench player. He was important for the Knicks catalyst and for that time because he was their better player. That of all the talented players they had on that roster currently, Quickly was one of the best bench players they had. So they, you had to live and die with some of the Quickly's mistakes. But look how things changed over the year. Now you're seeing McBride, I asked this question. I asked this to Shatan. I always thought McBride as a six-man. Now I trust more McBride's offense. I know what I'm going to get from Miles McBride night in, night out than I would have gotten what I knew that I was going to get from Emmanuel Quickly, even at their best, at their heights, because I know what I'm going to get from Miles McBride quickly. There was Quickly, and at the end of the day, Quickly would have gotten. Quickly is a better talented player than Miles McBride, but I know what I'm going to get McBride night in, night out. But with Quickly, I could get the ceiling or I could get the uber basement, and that was the only issue with Emmanuel Quickly, and it wasn't consistent. With Miles McBride, I know to get consistently from a player energy, defensive, and scoring from Miles McBride, and he put in the work. So I kind of feel more comfortable with McBride over Emmanuel Quickly right now because of what we've seen, the body of work. So and I hope you understand what I'm trying to get with that one. With that, and of course, there's fan bases, players that they just can't stand. They just it is what it is. It's sad because I like I said, even with Sims, I want everyone to do well on this team. I'm not a big fan of Matt Ryan, but if he gets in the game, I need you to shoot 10. I need you to shoot, 10 out of 15 from 3-point land. I know he's never going to take 15 shots, but I understand. You know what I mean. Yeah, Quickly folded in the playoffs. Quickly did fold in the playoffs. It just was the pressure was a little mounted for him. It was a little high. And let me ask this final one. It's now a calendar year. Actually, 2 more days for the calendar year where we made the trade for OG Anunoby, Precious Achiuwa, Malachi Flynn, and a couple picks. Of course, Toronto getting RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, make the trade. After a full calendar year of the trade, I know some people think RJ Barrett was going to develop into this franchise player. What is he doing with the Toronto Raptors? Playing phenomenal. He dropped 30 points on us. He was playing well, doing well, but he didn't transcend the team to get the victory. And again, seeing him play twice, and he plays so well against us. He looked so comfortable, so smooth. I think when the Knicks did, they needed to do that move. Sometimes you got to give up. Sometimes you got to give up your Mustang to achieve a Camaro and a pickup truck, because you're trading. Sometimes you're trading some luxury cars to get some everyday hardworking car like a pickup truck, like a Precious Achiuwa, and a nice Camaro and OG Anunoby. And you're giving up. You're giving up a BMW, and I'm trying to put it as easy as terms as a car, so you have a kind of idea. You're giving up something in value, like a Porsche, like a potential of an RJ Barrett, and Emmanuel Quickly, who is a serviceable BMW luxury car, and you're getting yourself a pickup truck, and you're getting yourself a pretty nice luxury car in yourself, in Mr. OG Anunoby, and it worked for both teams. You could say it worked more for the Knicks because the Knicks, look at the record with OG Anunoby. I believe that's going to be almost close to, 40 plus wins with OG Anunoby in the lineup. I don't think the Knicks have gone in the 3-game losing streak with OG Anunoby healthy in the lineup. And of course, and the Raptors, last time we saw them, they only had 7 wins. And Emmanuel Quickly's been injured. He only has played 3 games in 2024. We re-signed Precious Achiuwa. We re-signed OG Anunoby. Yes, Malachi didn't work out. I kind of wish it would have. I kind of, at that time, wanted that backup point guard. But again, things happen for a reason. At full calendar year, I think right now, the short term, the Knicks have won that trade 3-1. And now, long term, only time could tell. Because if RJ Barrett develops and becomes Canada's number one basketball player for the Raptors, he's not just going to be the Raptors' best player, he's going to be the nation's best player. The whole country, putting their country on the back, if they put them on a playoff run and get them into the postseason, dare I say, get them to an Eastern Conference Finals, RJ Barrett being the catalyst, he's going to have the whole nation of Canada rally behind him. So his ceiling is so high for RJ Barrett, and I understand where Knicks fans might have a little bit of a frown or a pushback on Barrett, but that's a move that had to be done. A move that needed to be done, had to be done, because look at the ramification that is done for the Knicks. They got wings defenders now in a wing league where you have Tatum, you have Brown, you got Butler, you got so many players, Giannis, you've got Middleton, Holiday. You need those defenders on the wing, and of course up and down your conference, and then you get to the Western Conference, you need those kind of players. That was a move that had to be done. Barry was a strong tenacity player. He was, don't get me wrong. But I think for what the Knicks needed him to excel or grow into, I don't think that the fan base or the board wasn't going to give him enough time to grow into it with the patience and with the noose that was around Tom, that still is around Tom Thibodeau, grow, ready to hang him to as a head coach. So yeah. RJ Barrett OG showed Barrett why the Knicks traded for him. OG took the game personally. Yeah, he did. And that's how it happens when you make a trade for one another. They always show out there. So again, I don't think we were gonna let Barrett grow into the full. We wanted him to come here and put the team and transcend the franchise the way LeBron did when he came with the Cavaliers. And no, they're 2 different type of players. That's a generational type of player compared to RJ Barrett, who could be a franchise player. But I still think, to find out the jury's still out. He's having a hell of a year. Want a big step up in Toronto, and I think next year is the witching year for Barrett if he's going to be their franchise player, well, along with Scotty Barnes. But that's the Toronto Raptors issue. So we got a full hour. I wanted to give a full hour here. I want to thank everyone for joining me on one of these calls, watch-alongs, or here on this roundtable discussion. Big.HAS, man, appreciate you. Thank you so much. You don't know. Appreciate it so much, man. I appreciate you joining me here. And of course, all the love. We want to appreciate everyone. We'll be on the watch along. Come on tomorrow. We're going to have the game. You'll be able to watch the game. You won't be able to hear me tomorrow, but you watch the game. I'll be there putting the game. I'll have the game on like I did on the Orlando Magic game, and we'll watch it together. And we'll hopefully the Knicks are streaking, looking for a 7th win, going on streaking. Actually 8th win. So they're looking for 8. Let's go. The Knicks are hot right now on the pistol. Close out the 2024 year into 2025 on top. So let's go, Knicks. We'll see you next time. May the sports be with you. Again, don't forget, one more quick one. Go vote for the NBA All-Star. We can't complain if Brunson doesn't start or we don't get anybody in the starting lineup. And we have to wait for the coaches to reserve to get them in, or an injury, or someone that doesn't want to go to the All-Star game. Vote our players in. So like that, we get to see and we get to enjoy them at the All-Star game. Buenas noches. Good night, guys.